So while virtual events certainly have their challenges, I have to say that they also have some upsides. One of which is that I'm getting to speak to someone who's literally on the other side of the world in Singapore. Hello, Rupen. I'm so grateful to have you here with us today.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, Anna.
It's it's wonderful that we could get together, but you all see that we are in different time zones by Rupen's beautiful background. So before we get into the incredibly important and innovative out of home that Dole has done over the last year and that I truly love, I'd really like to zone out and talk a little bit about your background and journey into advertising and this role that you have as global CMO of Dole. I've heard that you refer to yourself as an accidental marketer. What does that mean?
It means I didn't do a vertical ladder the way we've defined the vertical ladder of careers. I wasn't a brand manager, didn't grow up to be a senior brand manager, a director, a senior director, a VP, a SVP, a EVP, and a CMO, none of that. I started a career in advertising. I spent 24 years with one agency around 8 different countries. I then moved into a PR agency and then went straight to be the global CMO of Dole. So as a vertical career, I shouldn't be doing what I'm doing. As a jungle gym, I am precisely at the heart of building brands through purpose, creativity, and technology.
Well, accident or no accident, it was a good accident. And, I think that type of background is probably exactly what you need to be truly creative, right? I want to talk about this particular campaign now. The OAAA team, and I think, everyone who's seen it has really been blown away by the Dole Malnutrition label campaign. It's truly fascinating. But this wasn't some one-off activation. Can you tell us about Dole Foods' commitment to addressing the crisis of food scarcity?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, we live in a very unequal world. There is a huge divide between the haves and the have-nots, the food and the feed. I mean, it's almost become a world where unhealthy food is far more affordable, it's far more accessible, it's far more acceptable. Kids are growing up thinking it's a treat, and healthy food is becoming increasingly difficult for people to have. And as you think about this lopsided world, most people naturally gravitate to hunger, and which is an important part of this. And if the statistics are to be believed, we are not on the journey to meet the Sustainable Development Goal of zero hunger by 2030. In fact, the pandemic has made it even worse. But hunger is only one part of the problem, because at the other end is obesity, is the life of the haves and still the unhealthy eating we do. And therefore malnutrition, which combines hunger, but also combines obesity and the bad effects of when you have, what do you eat, was a starting point for the company's repurpose of a 170-year-old company, 170-year-old startup. So we believe that good nutrition should be like sunshine. It should be available, accessible, affordable to everyone. It should be a human right.
That's beautiful. And by the way, that's in your brand name too, right? The Sunshine Company.
Well, Sunshine Company. I mean, who wouldn't want to work for a Sunshine Company?
No, I mean, it's everyone would want to work for a Sunshine Company. It's really, really great. So I think that is like just such a great initiative and so important. As for the campaign itself, what was the insight that drove you to look at out of home as the right medium for it?
So when the team at David, and there was a combination of the David team in both Miami and Madrid, when they were briefed and they came back with, let's take something that is a part of our everyday life. The wonderful nutrition label that was created, I think, in 1994, but it's something that all of us ignore. It's there every day. It's there on a pack. And like everything else, we just either walk our life past it. And the core idea was, let's take the nutrition label and talk about the bad effects of malnutrition, but let's do it in a way that people can't ignore, people can't pass by, people feel a certain sense of largeness to it, and only projections on outdoor could have achieved the kind of impact and the kind of context. So it was a wonderful convergence of the creative idea as well as the media space, both demanding, take something that we just walk past by, take something that you would normally not look at, and then present it in a way that forces you to stop, pause, think, and act.
We love that, and we think it was a very good choice. Can you tell us a little bit about the journey that you went on to bring the work to life?
Absolutely. Look, when we saw the idea, and we were discussing it, obviously in our usual delusional Don Quixotic way of doing things as we do them at Dole, we said, we got to take the largest tower in New York. We got to take the largest tower in the world in Dubai. Let's go to Tokyo. Let's go to Singapore. Let's go everywhere. And this was right in the heart of us being in lockdown. So every day was a discovery. Oh, we can't do this in Dubai. Dubai just went into a lockdown. Or to get permission for this particular building. I mean, we had Flatiron, which didn't make it because of the last minute. The organizers of the Flatiron, the building management, decided not to give us permission. So having some amazing partners like National Experiential, who were really good at doing projections, Spark Publicists in terms of media, Peppercom, all of us went through almost a daily recalibration of, should we do this? Is it the right time? We're not going to do anything else just because we may not be able to do this. And then eventually we took 3 of the most food insecure places around the US. And we just said, we're going to do this. And we did.
Well, I mean, I'm so amazed by that. This year, all we've heard being in the out-of-home industry, or last year, I should say, because I think it's over now. I hope it's over. But is why out of home when people are forced to stay at home, right? Like it wasn't the natural medium. So what drove you to the, I would say, counterintuitive decision of yes, let's do out of home, even while people are locked down in stay-at-home orders? How did your mind kind of really decide to do that?
I think it was the team's commitment to what media the idea deserved. And we were battling on outdoor, not just as a, here is something and here is X amount of people that will pass by, but here is a projection that may be experienced by a few, but will be seen by many. So the converging the experience itself, but then creating content that was seen by millions and millions of people on social channel, was something that gave us a lot of reassurance. And then when you take on ideas like this, Anna, there's always a moment where your commitment gets tested. And thankfully for me, I'm surrounded by agency partners. I'm surrounded by a fantastic team who never let anybody else blink. Whenever there was a moment of doubt, there was always some team member who said, no, we're doing this and it's going to work. So I hope that, sorry, go ahead.
No, I did not mean to interrupt. But I will say, I mean, it certainly did, right?
Yes, it did. And I hope all of you get to enjoy the video as much as we did making it.
Wow.
Probably I don't read the nutrition labels as frequently as I should.
I had no idea. That's crazy.
Oh my goodness, no, I didn't know that many.
You gotta know what's healthy. Now, a lot of people aren't educated enough about actual good food and what you should be eating and when. It's a shocking number, but I'm not surprised.
healthier food is generally more expensive.
I think a big piece of it is the price. Like a salad in New York can cost you $15.
I know that there's a lot of people that could use some help with food, but I didn't know those numbers.
That was amazing. Really, truly amazing and beautiful. I'm so glad you did it. Want to talk a little bit about KPIs. How did you evaluate the impact and success of this campaign?
Obviously, there are the usual measurable KPIs, which is, did we get hundreds of millions of impressions, which we did, I think about 250 million and still counting. Did we get X amount of earned media that could be measurable in terms of impressions, mentions, engagement? But I think for us, the biggest KPI was twofold, which is, did enough consumers stop, pause, and rethink what they're eating and the impact it could have? And the second is, did enough new partners join us? Because what we're doing is going to be a small drop in what needs to be achieved. And we won't be able to do this unless like-minded partners call us and saying, look, I can bring my own superpower to Dole what you're trying to do, and together we can have impact at scale and speed. And the amount of new partners that have called us actually makes the entire campaign worthwhile, and the need to start planning phase 2, phase 3, phase 4, and more.
I have to ask you that. We talked a little bit about this before, but I don't know how much you can share, but what's next for this work?
So look, the nutrition label gives us a ubiquitous canvas that we can continue to use forever. One thing that bothers us at Dole in our journey for Sunshine for All is the fact that we live in a world that wastes 1/3 of the food that is created. And the big distinction between we waste 1/3 of the food that is wasted and about a similar amount of people actually go hungry every night bothers us. So the next campaign is in planning right now. We're taking on the subject of food waste. It will be outdoor, but it will not be outdoor in the archetypical holding up their projection. The most logical place for us to go to is where food gets wasted, outdoor. So imagine trash cans and more, and very soon, most of people around the world, this has been planned in New York, Singapore, and a couple of other cities around the world, should be able to experience this. And hopefully we change the amount of food we waste as a planet.
Well, that is really cool. And I look forward to it, as, especially in New York, where I live, as we're opening back up again. And not only, the reduction of food waste, but I think also both people coming back, the reduction of litter and just, the problem that we have with people not, picking up after themselves. So I really, really like that. Very, very cool. I want to pull back a little bit from the campaign itself and talk more broadly about how you see marketing technology and media channels. What's your or Dole's point of view on how and why you look to certain types of channels or technologies?
So it starts for us from a simple fact that most people wouldn't care if 76% of the brands they use today just disappeared. That's a stat that comes out of a study done by the World Federation of Advertisers. That actually means about 24% of what we're doing as a community is actually having some resonance. And then there is a lot of garbage in, garbage out, GIGO, as we call it. And therefore, for Dole, given the purpose we have to bring sunshine, to bring good nutrition to everybody, the two big currencies that matter for us are attention and trust. So every channel that helps us either get attention, and outdoor is a big one on that list, and do it in a manner that is real, it's authentic, it's genuine, it doesn't look like advertising. Because the same person who doesn't have time for advertising seems to have 3 hours when it comes to Game of Thrones. So it is not just that people don't like advertising, or people like what they like in the world. At sometimes it can be a good ad in a good channel.
Well, that's very, very true. And you're obviously a top marketer and you believe in the power and potential of out of home. But, since this conference is about future proofing, how can our industry, the out of home industry, future proof itself so that we become the first choice, or maybe at least one of the top choices in the media mix?
Look, outdoor comes in, and the audience is far more capable of answering this question than probably I am. But even at the cost of laughter and ridicule, I'm going to give it a shot. Okay. I'm a big believer that outdoor needs to add technology, conversation, and engagement to the way we've always seen outdoor. So it's got to be less of a press ad that people experience, a large outdoor press ad, and become much more about connection, about local, about where you are, what are you feeling, can I talk to you, can I converse with you, can I engage with you. And the moment we move outdoor from a large press ad, a hoarding, to a conversation, to engagement, I think we've future-proofed this for time immemorial. And tech is the biggest enabler, in all of this. The last thought, I'll again at the cost of the audience laughing, saying, what does he know about outdoor? And probably I know far little. I think outdoor needs to start becoming far more sustainable as well, far more energy efficient, and far less damaging to the planet as we move forward.
Well, I think I hope the audience listened to that, and I hope they liked it. This is so true, and definitely something we as an industry are thinking about. But it's fantastic to hear it from you. And sort of in the same vein, right, in the area of future proofing, you have a global role, but you sit in a different part of the world in Singapore. And we know here, we're going to hear a little bit more about this throughout the conference here, but that markets outside of the US, and especially in EMEA, that they are pioneers in the outdoor space and often light the way for other markets. So what are you seeing with your global view that's really getting you excited right now?
I think the responsive outdoor is the next big bet I'm going to put my Cardanos on, right? I mean, yesterday Ethereum had a big drop, so we'll go with Cardanos. But outdoor that engages, outdoor that works with an idea, that is contextual, that is responsive, that is sustainable, is something you already see in wonderful places like Tokyo, in London, in France, in the Middle East, and is something that needs to be embraced at a large scale, even in the US.
Sure. We should have more of that, and I think it's coming. Ruben, I want to ask you something a little bit more personal. We have something in common, actually. I think we have a lot of things in common, but one thing that we definitely have in common is that we have two young daughters, and a belief that we want there to be a better world for them. I know that gender equality is very important to you. How are you driving change at Dole in your organization and in your marketing?
So growing up to a very strong mother, being married to a very strong woman, and trying to grow two amazingly strong girls into a world that's quite lopsided for them. All I can first do is apologize on behalf of all the men who've made this so difficult for each and every one of you. Given we're a Sunshine for All company, equality in all forms, shapes, and sizes is important when it comes particularly to gender. We're making a huge effort to equalize the ratio that wasn't equal when we began this journey. So when you suddenly look at our new head of Europe, Isabella, When you look at our new VP of marketing in California, Arsha, when you look at the fact that at Dole, the entire category development and innovation team is led by women leaders. Jokingly, I complain to when Arsha, Lara, PV sit on a call and don't allow me to speak. I usually joke saying, now I know how you might have felt when some of us mansplained you. And it's half a joke and half reality, but this is very serious for us, big for us, important for us, and should be important for everybody out there to fix. I can't believe it's in 2021 and we're still discussing this.
Well, very, very true and wise words. And I mean, this has been, such an inspirational conversation, Ruben. And I thank you. I thank you for all your wisdom that you've shared here. And especially I thank you for your time and all that you're doing, for your company, for Out of Home, and truly for the world. I personally really look forward to, and I know the whole audience does too, to seeing what's next for you and Dole. And in particular, see that campaign that's coming out very soon. Thank you so much, Ruben.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you.